You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we're about to do our IPL 2024 predictions. That's right, we're going to be talking who will win the IPL, who's going to get the most runs, who's going to get the most wickets, the MVP, the biggest flop, who's going to make the playoffs, as well as answering around 20 questions that we've been sent in from Twitter. If you're watching this live, do say hello in the YouTube chat and make sure you click and subscribe. I hope you've been enjoying our content over the last 10 days. If you haven't, go back and watch or listen to those team previews. There's 10 of them and they're really good. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Ross Legg. How are you doing, Ross, on this Wednesday evening?
Mate, it's IPL Eve, pretty much, right? Literally, I'm buzzing. The biggest part of the year for kind of proper club cricket, and it's going to be very, very entertaining. So, in the Patreon, it's been amazing this week. We did a snake draft in terms of that, and the Patreon has gone to another level, is my view, in the Discord. So, well done, Alex, who I think deserves a massive shout out from us for organising that. And if you do want to get involved, we'll give you updates throughout the IPL on who has the absolute minerals to pick the best team. And Max, I'm afraid it's not going to be you, but there we go.
We'll get to that at the end of the show. We'll talk about who we've picked in our snake draft. But considering that is probably only news or relevant news for maybe 9, 10 of the people listening to this podcast, we're going to move on. Max, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Ross is throwing down the gauntlet in that snake draft. I've gone for a high variance approach. It could go horribly wrong. It could go brilliantly. And that's what the predictions are all about. So it's going to be, I'm going with the theme of the show. Predictions, things going wrong.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
Cool. We've got a little bit of any other business to kick the show off. Max, the Women's Premier League ended. And it was quite good. Sunday. Talk to me. Can you give us a little recap? We said we would talk about this, and then we kind of forgot on our last episode, and now here we are, and it's finished.
Yeah. It concluded. It concluded in the fashion that you'd expect. You said it ended. It kind of made it sound as if it just someone just decided not to do it anymore. But no, it concluded in the fashion that a cricket tournament generally does, with a final. The unexpected bit about the final was that it featured two franchises more known for choking and losing than winning finals in Delhi Capitals and RCB. But they got the chance, and it kind of played out a little bit like a final that was being competed by two teams who are perennial losers. Shafali Verma got Delhi off to an unbelievable start, 44 of 26. They hit like 60 odd off the power play. They were laughing. They were cruising. And then RCB fought back. 3 wickets in 4 balls for Sophie Molyneux as the Delhi batters kind of just lost their minds completely, trying to aimlessly thwack everything out in sight, just without any of the ability that Shafali Verma displayed. And it kind of turned out in the end that it looks like actually wasn't that easy a pitch to score quick runs on, slowing up a bit difficult. But by the time Delhi actually worked that out, it was way too late. And they they limped their way to 113. Not to be deterred, of course, RCB, the chokers that they are, strive to make things as awkward for themselves as they possibly could, making sure at all stages and towards the climax of the game that the asking rate was just above 1 a ball, just to make it a little, threatening for them. But fortunately for them, they had Elise Perry, who'd previously smashed a Tartar punch and smashed the entire tournament, to see them home reasonably comfortably in the end. So she finished the tournament averaging 69 with the bat and the orange cap. And in the end, like, really comfortable win and a maiden trophy for RCB. Congratulations to all the RCB fans. She got there in the end. It wasn't Kohli, but never mind. And I just can't help but wonder what might have happened with that final if DC had just managed to get like an extra 15, 20 runs. Like, it could have been close. Could have been dicey if they'd actually been forced to try and put any emphasis into the chase. But it was a bit of a shame in the end that the final played out as it did. But take nothing away from RCB, they were quality after the first 5 or so overs.
It was kind of one of those finals, wasn't it, where like you just wanted someone to win it. You're watching the game and you're like, this is there for the taking. Take it. Go on, take the game. And nobody kind of did until right at the end. I think it's great news for RCB, isn't it? Ross, like two kind of questions here. Is this Elise Perry's WPL? Is that what it will be known as? And two, how funny is it that RCB have done this in the second season of the WPL, knowing what we know about the men?
I think Alice Perry has dominated. I think out of the all of the media coverage that's been around her. I was literally on a train yesterday, going to work, and there was a guy sitting there, literally looking at it and watching the highlights of Alice Perry like smashing the ball around, and that is broken through mainstream media in the UK. That is how big this is for women's cricket, and I think it's absolutely fantastic that Alice Perry is putting. We all knew she was amazing anyway, right? RCB winning it, it's kind of the same. I'm a Spurs fan, right? I see Spurs very kind of similar to RCB, and the pain that you kind of go through. It's the hope that ends up killing you. And I think the women in Spurs are in the semi-final of the Cup, and it's going to be quite embarrassing, I think, for all the money that's been splurged and all the men's sport for then that to kind of happen. But I think it's amazing on here. Having the Women's Premier League as a centrepiece is absolutely essential for the growth of women's cricket. And RCB, who have got, let's be fair, a massive fan base. For a team that loses all the time, they've got a massive fan base.
Much bigger than Scotland.
Yeah, and it was one of those things. It's like they've gone through, 15 years of pain, 16 years of pain, wherever it is. And I think on this occasion, you saw the celebrations afterwards of how much this meant to kind of Bangalore and the fans of RCB. And I think it's pretty amazing. And what you didn't really want was one of the same old franchises winning it. So, fair play to RCB. Alyssa Perry, fair play as well.
Well, they dumped out Mumbai, didn't they, in the semi-final? Mumbai bottled it big time in that semi-final. Really, really bottled it. There was also PSL action, and I'm on PSL duty. It was a pretty good final. It went down to the last ball. Naseem Shah looked like he'd won it, and then was out with a ball to spare with the scores level. In the end, Islamabad United did win. The bloke who came in, forgot who he is. The guy who's batting number 10. He hit a 4. I can get the name. Muhammad Ali. Not that guy. Oh no, Hunay Shah. Sorry, I completely got this wrong. Hunay Shah. He hit Muhammad Ali for 4, but not that Muhammad Ali, the bowler. Not the dead one. It was a pretty good, as I said, pretty good game. The Islamabad United, they probably should have put the game away a little bit earlier than they did, but slightly dragged it out and then needed quite a few runs near the end with wickets falling.
Yeah, mainly as I'm Khan's fault, right? That.
Yeah. Like it's there was some interesting cricket. There always is in the PSL. What I really want to draw your attention to, though, guys, I haven't got a full match report here, is Imad Wasim in the changing room. So he picks up 5 for 23. Really good bowling. That, if you don't know much about cricket, that's like a 10 out of 10 performance. And then he has a victory cigarette at half time in the changing rooms, which you got to love. And then with the bat gets 19 off 17 balls to sort of help steer the team home. But you'd probably argue he'd done the hard work. So if you wanted to take it easy with the bat, not a problem. Another PSL in the books. I quite enjoyed it this year. PSL, what I caught of it. It's on. I think we've discussed this at a slightly awkward time, 2 till 6 in the UK, which is working hours, but quite a fun tournament, I think. And having 6 teams means the quality is pretty high. Lahore Qalandars finishing last. That was really funny.
Yeah, but they got the best kit. They got the best kit.
No, by miles, by absolutely miles. Best kit in franchise cricket, I'd say. Final news. Ross, do you want to do this or does someone else? Hasaranga.
I'm in for this. This is
it's got Ross written all over it.
Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh is always exciting, right? It's always, for some reason, it's become one of the biggest rivalries in cricket. And you're just like, you saw at the end of Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka, where Bangladesh had won, they made a kind of a joke. They did a bit of a sketch show when it was coming to the team photo time around and mimed out Angela Matthews getting timed out for the helmet issue. No, that is unbelievable shithousery, and that is what we need more of in cricket. Bangladesh, I thought all of the Bangladeshi guys I've ever played cricket with or ever met have been unbelievably nice. This group of cricketers are shithouses. They are unbelievable, and it adds a whole level to it. But Sri Lanka were just like, do you know what? What about if we found a new enemy? And they decided that the ICC couldn't possibly ban their best player in Hasaranga. And Hasaranga had got a few demerit points. He'd complained about the umpire and was given a few more. That was going to lead to a ban. They preempted this ban because they got to announce their test match squad for a 2-match test series against Bangladesh in the coming weeks. Hasaranga has been retired for the last 8 months of cricket at test match level. They announced that he would be coming an illustrious return. They knew he was going to get banned. And now he's missing the 2 games against Bangladesh. And so he'll be free to play their next ODI or next T20 game.
World Cup.
World Cup.
And it would have been 4 T20 games. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant.
Talking about like taking advantage of the rules, right? The rules are there to be followed or they're to be broken. And in this case, they've managed to stay within the lines, get one over the ICC, and for all the Sunrisers fans who are dying to hear what we think about their team chances this year on this podcast, he gets to play from the start. It's an unbelievably beautiful play here. And that's 5D chess, that is, lads.
And beautifully set up for Sunrisers to not actually pick Hasaranga after all of it.
I think it's one of the best pieces of strategic thinking I've ever seen in cricket.
It's great.
I go that far.
It came from Sri Lanka.
Yeah. We're going to take a really quick break early in the show, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk IPL predictions. What we'll be doing is a classic cricket podcast snake draft, not the snake draft that Ross was talking about earlier, the prediction snake draft, going through a bunch of categories and saying...
Can you reel those off, Jack? Can you reel those off? It's winner, most runs, most wickets, MVP, flop, wooden spoon, and who is making the playoffs.
Sounds good. Be back in 2 seconds.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast for the IPL prediction show, or the section of the show which features IPL predictions. Just a reminder to like and subscribe to the Cricket Podcast wherever you are listening or watching now, and tell a friend. You know, you can do that digitally. You can put that in your WhatsApp group, your Telegram group, which I assume that all of our listeners are on. Or you can use your mouth and say, have you heard the really cool show, the Cricket Podcast? You should listen to it, Dave. And then maybe Dave will. Which category? I don't think... Look, so we've got... Ross, you listed the categories off and you had winner at the top. Winner of the IPL. I feel like that would be going a bit early. So I think we should maybe reserve...
in the chat, Advite has highlighted flop. But that's a big category, that.
I think we're going most runs, most wickets, MVP, flop.
Okay, right, that's a good idea. Let's do it.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Ross, you're top left on my screen, and I assume everyone else's screen as well. Who do you think is going to score the most runs at the 2024 IPL?
Do you know what? I'm big into hype. I'm big into vibes. I'm not really that data driven, but the guy has been an unbelievable fettle, and I'm a pink boy at the end of the day, aren't I? And for me, it's going to be Jaiswal. I think that the guy is he's got the world at his feet. He's literally a purple patch at this point in time, and I think that my view on Rajasthan this year, they've got a pretty good chance of going at least until the final, and I think Jaiswal is going to be key to that. So that is my first draft on for most runs.
I think that's a solid shout. He would have been my first pick as well, and actually, so I can tell you that, Max, because obviously we can now no longer pick Jaiswal. Who do you think will get most runs in the IPL 2024? And why?
That also would have been my first pick. So well done, Ross. So it has to be an opener, right? It's been an opener for like the last 7-8 years. So got to stick with that. And you can narrow it down to teams that are going to be terrible, but I've been really bad at predictions, right? Trying to use my brain to come up with things that I think will happen. Oh, we go back to the India-England series. And I was like, I'll pick the low-hanging fruit. Virat Kohli didn't even bloody play the entire series. So I'm throwing that out the window and I'm going for something completely different. And I don't even know if he's going to start, but if he does, I reckon for CSK, he's going to rack him up. And I'm going to go with Rachin Ravindra.
Oh my God, that's so out. That is left field. That is a zero. Yeah, this is a competition, Max. You're supposed to be trying to beat me and Ross. You're supposed to be doing better predictions than us.
Rick and Patel's correctly said Gaikwad, which would have been, the sensible thing to say. But no, I don't do sensible.
No, I've got a choice.
What's going to be funny is where Devon Conway's thumb's actually not as bad as people think, and Ratchet doesn't even play.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I have got a choice now. So there were 3 players. Well, I had 4 players on my list in case we needed an extra one. Jaiswal was number 1. Then I had 3 players in about second place. Shubman Gill obviously won it last year. Gaikwad, who looked unbelievable last year, but Gill was on a different level, quite frankly. And then Jos Buttler as well, who has been playing pretty good cricket round the world. I'm going to go for the homer. We can't just take. We can't have no English players.
Yeah, he struggled a lot though last year. 3 ducks we finished the IPL.
He did struggle a lot. Like, I think, look, my head is saying Shubman Gill, but then my heart is saying Shubman Gill won it last year. Now I know that that's a logical fallacy. I think that is the textbook gambler's fallacy there. But I'm going to go with the interesting pick. I'm going to pick Jos Buttler. Probably, if we're honest, over the last 5 years in T20 cricket, the most consistent opener. So I think Jos Buttler's a fair shout. Most wickets, it's going to snake back now, so that means I get to pick first. This is an absolute no-brainer. I'm going for Rashid Khan.
Rashid Khan. I was going to say other notable people in that most runs chat.
Oh, well,
a lot of KL Rahul love in the chat. A lot of Virat Kohli love in the chat. But guys, they don't value strike rate. So
no. King Legend values the orange cap, and that's always a safe bet to go for.
But he's going to bat in the middle order. That is one of the reasons I didn't have him in my top 2. So
apparently,
we'll see. Anyway, most wickets Rashid Khan.
Yeah, I think just on that though, I think KL will bat in the middle order once and then not like it very much, and then be opening the batting. Next game. That's what I think will happen. And there's an injuries out, isn't there? Rashid Khan, I think, is the the run race is wide open as far as I'm concerned. Like there's any one of about 10 players has got a really decent chance in that, and there's probably a few bolters as well. Wickets, I think it's a much more of a closed shop, and I think Rashid Khan is running that shop. What did he get last week? Yeah, 27 wickets or something like that, which is pretty good. Lost out to Mohammad Shami, but Mohammad Shami injured, won't play. It's clear for Rashid Khan. Max,
you still got usurped Mohit Sharma though, so it's one more peg to take down. So there's chat, isn't there, that some of the second half might end up in the UAE because of election things.
No.
So that leads me towards spin
medium paces.
I think I don't. Well, yeah, I'm not going to go with it. Well, maybe. No, I'm thinking spin. Obviously, Rashid Khan's gone. Very sensible. I'm thinking of like someone like Kuldeep, right? Great spinner, could take loads of wickets, but Delhi are kind of bad, and I feel like people might just like say, look, let's just not take too many risks against Kuldeep. So I'm going to rule him out. I'm going to go with a side that have got bags of spin. So you're going to have to take a risk against one of them, and I'm going to go with Varun Chakravarti.
Not bad. He had a really good season last year, and obviously when we've seen the IPL in the UAE has done exceptionally well. 2 years ago was a bit iffy, but there's certainly the potential for wickets for Varun. Ross, your call.
I like the Varun Chakravarti piece, and Bioball in the chat also likes that, Maxi. So you got a bit of support there. I think that if we look at what's happened in the Test matches, and I know you shouldn't base Test matches and the pitches, but the pace has not been too bad. Like in terms of what's happened, and Bumrah is back in action, right? And sometimes you just got to go for the big dog. Right, so I think Mumbai are going to have a good season, and I think Bumrah is going to be a massive, massive part of that. And I think the pitches will favour him as long as he stays fit. So I'm going to go with Jasprit Bumrah as my safe bet. I think Mitchell Stark has a pretty good shout in that space. I think KKR are probably going to have a good season. And Max, I like your choice of Narain versus Chakravarti versus Shreyas. And I just think that I think for me, Bumrah is going to be in the takers.
Always a risk, of course, that Suyash and Sunil take all the wickets away from Varun Chakravarti, and he ends up with most assists for the season. So could go.
There's nothing wrong with being Kevin De Bruyne, is there? No, nothing wrong being Kevin De Bruyne.
We'll just recap quickly. So for most runs, I went with Jos Buttler, Ross went with Jaiswal, and Max went with Rachin Ravindra. For most wickets, I went with Rashid Khan. Max went with Varun Chakravarti, and Ross, you went with Jasprit Bumrah. That brings us to MVP. Ross, you get to make the first call on most valuable player in the 2024 IPL.
And can we remind people what MVP, how it's calculated?
Is it on fantasy points?
Is it our MVP or is it on the IPL official thing? Because
I think our MVP.
Our MVP. Oh, so this is the only category I've not actually got anyone written down for, because all the ones I'm just like, I don't know really what I'm going to hear out of those different points. I think typically you look for, was it? I think 6s and 4s, right? The ultimate bite. I've said Jaiswal already. I've said Bumrah already. I'm going to spread my. I could spread. I'm going to spread though. I'm going to spread. I think if Josh Butler has an unbelievable season, there's plenty of 4s and 6s, and I think they carry more points, right, in that space. All rounders are particularly useful when I'm in that space. God, this is a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
Where any danger, Otherwise, we'll time you out.
Do you know what? I think RCB are going to have an absolutely dreadful season. So it's not going to be Maxi Ricken, who've just put that in the chat. I'm not going to fall into that trap. So I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say it's going to be Suryakumar Yadav.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. He is currently
he's injured.
Injured. Yeah, he is.
Well,
but you've made the choice now.
I'm going to change that.
You made the choice. You made the choice.
That's what happens when you don't write names down.
That's why you got to do the research.
Head notes after 500 episodes. Head notes are the worst.
You've got to do the research, Max. Who's it going to be MVP?
Yeah. Well, I did think of some names, but I have done it based on kind of the MVP point system, where you get points for boundaries and 50s and 100s and dot balls and things. So I was like, it's tilted towards batters. It's always been tilted towards batters, and the only way you can break into that is either by being an absolute freak of an all-rounder like Rashid Khan, or being an all-rounder who bats like probably in the top 4. So with that in mind, I'm gunning towards the aforementioned Glenn Maxwell, but I want to. I don't know.
Give it a go, Max. Give it a go.
I just feel he's too hot and cold. I don't feel the consistency there. So because you've left me an open goal, I'm just going to go with Rashid Khan.
I think Rashid Khan is fair. He's never won it though.
No,
according
this
to
will be his year.
The system. According to the system. I think the question kind of is do you think somebody will score loads of runs? Because it is weighted towards runs. If you can get 600 runs, you're more or less a banker to win it. I'm going to go for the romantic pick. Getting on a little bit now. Andre Russell. Andre Russell. I think there's going to be one more glorious year.
Yeah, a swan song.
Andre Russell. Just picked up in 100 drafts as well, so he'll be going into this feeling like king of the world, obviously. Other names. No one said Hardik Pandya.
He was on my list. Yeah,
he's got.
I don't know why I didn't do that. I literally panicked. I saw your Mumbai Indians jersey. I was just like, Ross, you're panicking here.
Yeah. Well, you went for the wrong Mumbai Indian. Jaiswal's got to have a decent chance with the number of 6s that he hits. And maybe Jasprit Bumrah could pick up enough wickets. You have to get a lot of wickets though. I just don't like even when it's won by a bowler, it's won by a bowler
who it's a batter's game.
Scored some runs. Yeah, it is. There's some weird names on that list. Harshal Patel, 2021. It was a great year for him, but like modern Harshal, you'd never think it was possible, would you? Right, here's where we get to diverge off. Do we want to do flop and wooden spoon next, or do we want to go to some?
Let's go flop. Let's round off the players, and then we'll do teams.
Okay. Flop. I think that there'll be major friction at Mumbai Indians, and I think Rohit Sharma will be so sad that he has a terrible year. So I'm going to go for Rohit Sharma. Also, he's quite old, and also he's low-key been quite bad in the IPL forever. So it's always a safe bet to go for Rohit. Max, what do you think?
Nice. So I think my first name that I put down kind of chimes with the low-key been bad in the IPL forever, but I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to go with high-key been bad in the IPL forever, but talks himself a good game. Rian Parag. I picked him in the snake draft in our Discord, and that is just certainty that it's all going to go horribly wrong. So Remparag, who topped the SMAT for runs at a strike rate of 180 last year, said he was going to bat higher up the order and hit 4 sixes in an over. This year, he said he's going to bat higher up the order. It's not going to happen, Ryan. You're toast.
Here's a thing that I will point out has happened. Both Max and myself have hedged our bets somewhat here. Like, I think for you to really pull off
different things,
for you to really pull off the flop, you have to go for somebody that everyone thinks is actually going to be really good.
Yeah, I don't
And then
think
they're
Bragg is going to be good enough. I don't think.
All right, well, do you want me to change it to someone who people think might be good?
No, you've already done it.
You've made your bed.
Your bed, yeah. Go on.
No, I don't care.
Well, I'm going to go for a captain. So you don't get bigger than that, right? At a franchise, captain, fantastic. I think there is a big chance of a mid-season captaincy change, which that as a captain is going to be. That's a flop, right? That is a flop.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is. Well, he's one of my. He's in the positive category, or maybe one of my favourites, but in my positive category, because of what he's achieved in the game. But ultimately, Faf du Plessis, I think this is a season too far. I'm not a hot on RCB this season, and I think that Faf du Plessis opening up as a captain, I can see him either being dropped because I think Will Jacks is now a better option, and I think that there could be a mid-season captaincy change, which will just be a little bit embarrassing for everyone involved at RCB.
So we've all danced around Pat Cummins.
I think the cum dog will be fine.
Yeah,
I think he will be basically fine. I don't think he'll be good. And I think that he might be a problem for them in that they could pick a better option than him. But I don't think he'll be so disastrously bad that we're all saying, oh my God, look how bad Pat Cummins was. I think he'll be about as good as he normally is in the IPL, which is sort of like, meh.
He kind of gets to do what he wants as well, right? He's captain. He goes, I'm going to bowl these overs.
Yeah.
Like he could bowl the 7th over every game and bring all his bowling figures back. So,
I think there's the possibility that Cameron Green could be a little bit of a flop as well. But he's batting in a place that's so easy to bat that you'd think that he'll be able to disguise everything that goes wrong with the ball by scoring, a couple of quick 80s and looking good that way. So I'd have thrown him in as another potential.
That's who I went with last year, Cam Green.
Is it? Yeah. Flop's always hard. Flop is always hard. Like,
you have to naturally pick someone who's good at cricket, unless you go with real.
Yeah. You have to. Otherwise,
you're setting yourself up for a fall. But that's the fun. That's why we like it.
Great wooden spoon. That's where we're going next. So we've still got categories to come. We've still got wooden spoon. Then we'll do playoffs. Then we'll do who we think will be the winner each. Am I first? No, Ross, you're first. Sorry, I forgot how snake draft worked there. That was, I've got a bit of a cold. So
when it comes to this, I think there's 3 candidates in my head for us to pick from. One team doesn't have any overseas fast bowlers anymore because another one pulled out today. Another one is the ones I've been hammering on about in terms of RCB. And then the other one is Delhi in my head. So they're Lucknow, Delhi, and RCB are the ones I'm trying to pick from in my head. If I'm perfectly honest, what I see at Delhi doesn't excite me, but they've got potential star power, right? In that player, Rishabh Pant could just be a freak of nature, right? Anrik Nortje could come back after 2 years being injured and be brilliant. Like, there's so many different things going on there. David Warner could have a point to prove. Whatever it's going to happen, they were awful last year. Lucknow, like wicket keepers and all rounders, they've had people pull out on them, but batting I think probably saves them enough in that team. But RCB, they've got 4 people who can play cricket. Like they literally, there's people on the there's literally there's people in the team sheet. I'm just like, are you having a laugh? Like that guy clearly is not good enough to play the IPL. And how do they fit their bowlers in? They've got nearly 0 domestic talent outside of the elite category, and even then, the elite player strikes at kind of 125 in the IPL. RCB are going to finish 10th this year for me, lads.
10th. That is last. RCB. It's a bold call. It's a really bold call. Max, you've got 9 teams to choose from. Didn't even let me finish my
Next.
sentence. Why? Why Delhi? What have they ever done to you?
Oh, they're just. I mean, it's just not. It's not an exciting. I mean, you've got Rishabh Pant is like you say, he's phenomenal, but he's coming back off. Horrendous. Car accident. Like we don't know what shape he's going to be in. He could be absolutely fine. Even if he is absolutely fine, he's got David Warner batting at a snail's pace alongside him. No middle order, and then maybe Amrik Nortje will be good, but he's been injured since September, so he might. Like the last time he was injured coming into an IPL for Delhi, he started with about 3 no balls and an over and at a full toss, went for 6, and then got injured again and went off. So I'm not holding out a lot of hope for Amrik Nortje, but maybe we'll see. And with the T20 World Cup on the horizon, every chance South Africa will be like, chill out, take it easy. They've got Akshar Patel as in the finisher role, quality player. Not enough power in that finisher role. I just think throughout their squad and their starting 11, they're just a bit weak overall. They're on paper, I think they are the worst team, even worse than RCB, Ross.
Well, the Racing Car Beds are going to finish last in that race. Delhi coming in 9th. Okay, I can get behind that.
I actually didn't think Lucknow were that bad, even with their overseas fast bowler exodus. So I'm not going to go with Lucknow. I'm going to go with the Punjab Kings. I think we talked
great season for Sunrisers immediately. Great season. Not 7th, not 8th, 9th, or 10th.
Sunrisers could be in the mixer. I think they definitely could be in the mixer.
They're in the
But
conversation.
I think there's more scope for Punjab to get it all wrong because they're such a, frankly, unbalanced team. They don't have really anybody that seems to value not being out when they bat, which is very, very good fun, but not always genius cricket. So I'm going to go with Punjab. And I also think that they'll find a way to screw up their bowling attack, which on paper should be really good, but I've just got a feeling it won't. It won't work. So should we move now to the playoffs? So we're going to pick 4 teams each here, obviously, because there's 4 teams. We can't. You know what I mean? Like,
we can't stay for
it's a free for all.
Unless you're picking
It's a free for all. It's a free for all. That's what I'm trying to say. My 4 playoff teams: Mumbai Indians and Rajasthan Royals, who I think probably going to get unanimous selections, but I don't want to influence you guys. Just my thoughts. Then I've gone with the Chennai Super Kings and the Gujarat Titans, the 2 finalists from last year. I have played, I think, #safe on those playoff predictions. There's not a single interesting talking point at all. Max, on to you.
Over to me. Well, if you want interesting talking points, then I'm going to take you back to our draft that we're doing in the Discord and the amazing spreadsheet that has been put together. And in that draft, there's a little table that tells you the number of players from each team that have been selected thus far. And we're nearly done. We're all picking 8 players each between 11 of us. So there's a lot of players to get through. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm using the hive mind for my picks here. I'm taking the collective cricketing knowledge of the 11 diehard cricket podcast fans who very generously support us. And I'm going to use that list for who's going to make the playoffs. So number 1 is CSK. They've had 12 picks. So someone's going to have an issue with the fact that one of their players isn't going to be playing. And then KKR, they've got 10 picks. Rajasthan Royals, they've got 10 picks. And the wild card, the Punjab Kings, they also have 10 picks. So that's my 4. CSK, KKR, Rajasthan, and Punjab Kings, which is kind of a normal thing, apart from the bit where you're swapping out Mumbai Indians, who are really good, for Punjab Kings, who are total lottery. But it could happen.
That's kind of mad, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I picked Rachin Ravindra, I'm done with the normal theories of trying to be good at this prediction game.
I like the roll the dice strategy, mate. I like it. I respect it. The hive mind is always an interesting thing, especially in our Patreon, because half the time people are being sarcastic, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going to say Rajasthan Royals are there, so I think all 3 of us are picking them. KKR for me, I've got just a feeling they're going to have a good season. Mumbai, I think just their domestic contingent is so much stronger than a lot of the other teams, and they just don't seemingly make awful decisions like some of the others. And then it's such a difficult decision for that fourth place, because I think Sunrisers could have a good season, but there's so much that could go wrong. Gujarat Titans have got the minerals, but they've obviously lost Hardik Pandya, and CSK just somehow managed to make it every single year. And because they haven't got as many injuries as they had last year, I think there's a really good chance. But Conway is now out, isn't he? I think Pataran is carrying a bit of a niggle as well. So there is question marks around that. But Dhoni, it's the narrative maker, right? Dhoni always makes it happen. And so CSK round off my 4. So Rajasthan Royals, KKR, Mumbai Indians, and CSK.
Sounds like we're all quite hot on CSK. Reasonably
You just have to
hot
be,
on
don't
Mumbai
you? You
Indians.
just have to be.
You-
That's CSK.
They got magic. But when we came into this being like, they're a bunch of old dudes, how the hell are they going to win? And they've won 2 of the last 5 or 2 of the last 4.
It's mostly the same team.
We all like Rajasthan Royals, and there's a little bit of love for KKR in there too. When it comes to the winner, Ross, you get to pick first.
I'm going to say it's going to be Rajasthan Royals.
Fair enough. Max?
Bet hedging time. Mumbai Indians.
Oof, this is a tough one. I don't really want it to happen because it's quite boring when it does, but Chennai Super Kings, I think, are the next best favourites. Like I would say, go on, Ross.
I was really torn between Rajasthan Royals and KKR. Like literally, it's really close to me in my head. I think KKR's starting 11 is absolutely brilliant, but their depth is shit. Rajasthan Royals have got a really good starting 11, and their depth is much better, and that's why I've put them in that position. Is that why you're thinking that for CSK? Their depth and just their ability to win is there?
I just think they're all really good cricketers. I think most of the rest of the teams in the tournament don't have 11 players that are really good. They have 7 or 3. Whereas I think that's why I went for Gujarat making the playoffs too. I think they just have 11 players that very obviously should be in a IPL team plus a bench. Like, and that I don't think you can really say the same for even Rajasthan and Mumbai. The difference with those two is that their best players are so good, and they have so many so good players that they can kind of cover that a little bit. But yeah, CSK, they're a good all-round team, as I'm afraid to say it, as boring as I think they are to watch. Sorry, Max.
Fair enough.
It's all right. They're not as bad as LSG.
That is true. Tell you what, like that's the best thing that Chennai Super Kings ever did was get Lucknow into the tournament, because now everyone forgets how boring Chennai are because of Lucknow. But should we take a break? Then we're going to come back. Ross, there's a little bit of team news. I'm going to make you give us a little bit of team news on Harry Brook dropping out. But between our team previews and now, in case people are listening along, and then we'll do some questions.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast for the final part of our IPL 2024 predictions episode. Well, we've done all the predictions now. We're on to questions and updates. Before we get into all of that, though, just a reminder, you can find the Cricket Pod on social media at the Cricket Pod, and we want you to like and subscribe to the podcast. I said on the last episode we did that we know how many people who listen and watch the show actually subscribe. 66%, which means, or is it 30? It's either 66 or 33%. I think it's 33% actually, which means that 2/3 of you aren't subscribed, which is ridiculous. So click that button now, and next time you'll be able to hear me do that, but with the actual numbers instead of just doing it off the top of my head based on a quick glance at our analytics earlier. Ross, there has been some team action. Harry Brook's probably the big news. I mean, like if we're thinking back to our team previews here, we talked quite a lot about him. He has dropped out, hasn't he?
He has, and I think that's a significant blow for Delhi. And Ngidi has also dropped out, and is it McGurk, the Australian who hit the fastest century? So there is some pedigree there to come in, but yeah, I think Harry Brook is a loss. I think there's a lot of Indian fans who are sitting there going, "Do you know what? He wasn't brilliant at brilliant at Sunrisers. He did hit a century, and he is a generational talent from what we've seen so far of him in kind of different cricket. So I think any team is going to kind of struggle without that. They struggle also with intent in that team, and so it's going to be quite a hard person to replace. And I'm not sure they've actually named a replacement for him as of yet. But Delhi, it's one of the reasons we're not rating your chances so much this year. You've also seen Mohammad Shami, obviously Sandeep Warrior has been called up by Gujarat Titans. And bad news for Sri Lanka fans. Madhushanka has been ruled out of the IPL. And he's being replaced by Quena Mafaka. So, left arm pacer. I think he's South African. So we'll see what happens in that space. Phil Salt has come in for Jason Roy, as people are aware of, and then Luke Wood has come in for Jason Berendorf, which I think is, in my head, is an upgrade. But actually, Jason Berendorf's stats aren't actually terrible. You think with a name like Jason Berendorf, he wouldn't be able to play cricket, but he's not that bad. So I'm wondering if there's any other major replacements that I'm kind of missing out at this point in time.
Nothing major that I've heard. I mean, we covered Surya Kumar Yadav potentially being out for a couple of matches, and we did mention that all of Lucknow's pacers have decided not to bother showing up. David Willey having a little bit of time off. Yeah. I'm interested in Mafaka coming into the team, though, the 17-year-old from South Africa, who is actually still at school. He was obviously really, really good in the Under-19s World Cup. And what I find kind of weird about this, so we all know there's a mega auction coming up, yeah, and at that you're going to have to throw most of your players back into the pool. So you would think, if you were Mumbai, Max, I'll ask you this question. You would think that you would go for like the next best proven seam bowler because like you want to win now. But this seems to me, and I'm not saying he isn't a good player. I mean, clearly he's a really good player. This seems to me like a selection for the future, but they're never going to get to the future. Can you explain this to me?
Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? But I think he looked really, really exciting in the in the Under-19 World Cup. I think people sort of describing him as like a left arm Kahisa Rabada kind of player. So perhaps it's just a punt, right? They'll get him in, play him for a few games, and if it turns out that he's absolutely electric, then they've got a very, very, very cheap person to retain for the mega auction. But let's face it, what is it going to be? 3-4 players they'll get to retain. You can't. I don't think it will be Mafaka ahead of Hardik Pandya.
Mapuka, Max.
Mahuka, is it?
Mapuka.
Okay.
According to the live chat, we could be being smuggled down the river there, but Mapuka.
Okay. Well, thank you for correcting us. But yeah, I mean, you can't see them keeping him ahead of Hardik, Sky, Bumrah. Like it's interesting, but it's maybe they don't feel that whoever they pick is actually going to play. Maybe they've decided that Luke Wood's the guy, and B, just have a look at him get a closer look for the mega auction when he goes into it. So I mean, just because they're not going to be able to keep him doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't make sense. That means they now get to basically do some free scouting instead of everyone else. Maybe a very useful net bowler.
Well, they also get to do what they like, don't they, Mumbai Indians? When it comes to their draft,
they might get to keep 10.
Literally, they got given Hardik Pandya for like magic beans, and they are just in some cases, just allowed to just go and buy people. So it is pretty mad how that kind of works. There is obviously a couple of other replacements just to make sure they're all kind of up to speed. You've got Shamar Joseph, who's replaced Mark Wood. So he could be brilliant. He could be awful in T20 cricket. We just don't know. And then Kamira, the Sri Lankan, has come in for Gus Atkinson as well. So there's going to be no doubt some replacements in the next kind of couple of days. But I think it's looking pretty good. I'm really excited for this IPL. I think there's a big buttercream in the middle of the IPL cake, which I think is actually quite thick. And I think there's an awful lot of talent that is going to be. I don't know what's a competitive flavour, Max.
Competitive flavour, Marmite.
Marmite, is that a competitive flavour?
Marmite buttercream.
It's certainly a competitive flavour. If you have something with Marmite in, you know about it. Like that flavour is competing.
That is competing for your taste buds. You are right. There's in the Marmite buttercream. There is so many. There's some absolute also rans in the tournament, which we have highlighted. But there is a Marmite buttercream in the middle where I think we're going to get some unbelievably good cricket, and there's going to be some major upsets. I think in this tournament. I'm really looking forward to this season.
Right, we've got some questions. Let's get through them, and someone keep an eye on the live chat as well, so we'll pick up a couple there. Nish says, each one of you pick an overseas fast bowler to shine who is in their first IPL season. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say Spencer Johnson's going to be pretty good for the Gujarat Titans. I think that will turn out to be a pretty good selection. Max, why don't you go next? An overseas fast bowler in their first season, or maybe their second season.
Yeah, that's a tough
easier
one.
for you.
Well, let's say Shamal Joseph. Why not? He can continue his meteoric rise. He might not even play, but I'd like him to do well, so I'll go with it.
Ross,
could I? Is there a bit where people just forget they actually played in the IPL? And then
yeah, sure.
I could bring in Mitchell Stark and say that would be pretty good.
Nobody forgot that. Nobody forgot that. Okay, but yeah, good knowledge. You could have gone for Kurt Sayer.
Yeah, but he's injured, isn't he, Kurt Sayer?
Yeah, Luke Wood could actually play, and I quite like Luke Wood as a T20 player. So we'll go Luke Wood for the Mumbai Indians.
Cool. All right, Akshay says which players?
Oh, Nondre Berger, that is a good shout in the chat. Getting unliberal. I might not agree with some of the views you probably have, but Nondre Berger is a pretty good. He looks pretty good.
Akshay says which players are playing in their last IPL season. Max, this is for you. Who's the notable retiree this year?
Can I say it? If they win, Dhoni.
If they win, Dhoni.
Yeah.
They can't, in a mega auction, they can't give 10 crore to a guy who doesn't bat anymore, doesn't bowl.
Just
just keep looking. They can't do that. That would be mad. Ross, do you think we'll see any notable retirees?
Faf, perhaps. He might be forced to retire out of some of it. But you have to realize in this, like, names go so far. Actually, there's almost like no point in announcing that you're retiring until you literally, especially when it comes to the mega auction. Like, you could get a final payday, right? So actually, I don't actually think there's going to be loads of retirements this year because people, if there's going to be a mega auction next year, people don't want to miss out on that potential payday. So I'm doubting it. Even Amit Mishra, his name will be in the hat next year.
I'd say Dave Warner. I think I'm like you though. I think you go in the auction, and then if someone accidentally pays 8 crore for you, you're like, fine, I'll come. if they give you 1 or 2. Then you say, actually, I'm going to retire, boys. I'll do the commentary gig.
I need to go spend more time with the family.
Yeah. Jordan Henderson, not that Jordan Henderson, says, how large of an impact will the 2 bouncers per over rule change have? And will any teams be notable winners or losers from it? So I did have a look at the numbers for this. If you look at short bowling from seamers in the IPL, it's the most expensive place to bowl other than a full toss. So it's runs, but it is the second best place to bowl after Yorkers for taking wickets. So basically what this rule change should mean is carnage. Like, there should be more batters hitting the ball up in the air, but also the ball should go into the ground a lot more often. We should see more players hit, which, depending on how much of a sadist you are, is either good or bad. Yeah. So carnage is what I'd expect from it. Either of you two have any speculation on who's going to benefit from the carnage?
Shreyas Iyer stuffed.
That's it. It's all over.
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma's the best on the hook, as all the Indian commentators will tell you. So, but
he is quite good at playing the ball shot, to be fair.
From a pace bowler, that could bring Rabada into the conversation around the purple cap. Like, because he's expensive anyway, but he's good at taking wickets and he is sharp. So I think someone who's got a good Yorker and a good speeder and a good bouncer.
Nortje, if fit.
Yeah,
Cameron
Rabada,
Green,
Nortje. I think, there's a little bit in there. I'm looking forward to that.
I like it. I do like it as a conception. It's a good.
There's also a lot of time where it looks like rules that are brought in just to benefit the batters, right? This one, actually, I think there is an element to it for the batsman, but everyone likes to see a bouncer. So I think, Rabada for me, Jack.
Yeah, I think Rabada's a kind of a good shout there. we had 3 requests for this from Samish, Padmasi, and Shashvat in the live chat. Can we rank the team kits? That's pretty hard to do. So maybe if we give a favourite kit each and a least favourite kit. Max, IPL kits, what's your favourite so far?
Sunrisers, incredible. Absolutely love it. Like orange nonsense, looks like Doritos, Cheetos, what's this, whatever. It's brilliant. Worst kit, RCB. What are you doing? Why are you blue?
Why are you blue?
You don't need to be. Everyone's blue. Stop being blue. You what? Yeah, terrible.
It is.
Absolute disgrace what RCB have done with their kit. Even the green one's bad now. I really liked the green one before. Shocking.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I strongly agree with the bad kit. Like, you're one of the teams with a distinctive brand and an interesting kit.
Black, gold, and red is a good combo. That is a good combo.
Yeah, it's a classic combo, and you've turned yourself into a sideways Delhi or a turned right up Delhi with a massive logo. They look like a NASCAR. All the logos are way too big. They look so stupid. They look really, really stupid. Yeah, they're going to look really dumb when they finish 9th in that kit. Ross, who do you think best and worst kit?
Look, I think sometimes you get what you deserve, right? And ultimately, when you've got a setup like RCB and you've got this, for some reason, bonkers decision to play in blue black. Do you know what I think has probably happened here? Is that somebody's accidentally given the wrong color code. They actually went to go black for it. They'd ended up spending so much money on it, and they printed off a load of shirts, and they didn't want to be embarrassed by it, and that's why they ended up with the blue. So yeah, RCB is certainly the worst. I've always liked the Rajasthan Royals kit because of the pink bit, but it's not really changed from last year. Max, I'm a fan of what Sunrisers are doing, purely in the fact that let's try and disguise the fact we're a complete joke franchise with a fun kit. But I'm not sure I have a favourite. I just some of the Lucknow ones. Lucknow's is bad. Gujarat Titans is smart. Do you know what? I'll go Gujarat. I quite like the Gujarat. It's just I quite like it.
Yeah, stylish.
I'm probably in that camp too. Yeah, I think the Gujarat one is the least obnoxious, and that's
Punjab Kings. Absolutely not. Getting London Liberal. Absolutely not. Are you joking?
It's pajamas.
I think Delhi have gone. If you look closely, they've gone for the Kalandars approach. They've put the city of Delhi on their shirt, and I am a fan of that. I think the Lahore Kalandars pulled it off really well, but Delhi have done it in a really low key way where you can barely see that that's what they've done. So they had the potential to really break out on the kit front and at least make up for how bad we expect the cricket to be, but they blew it. Unfortunately,
it would have been good to go full gold. You know, like that would have been good. Like gold out of Austin Powers. If Punjab Kings all gold, now that would have been brilliant. Boss move. Big dick energy. That would have been.
Punjab Kings going for the left hand, right hand trousers is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, absolutely so desperate to make like what presumably is about £10,000.
It's for sponsorship, bro. Go and get your head in the game.
They've got different trousers depending on whether the guy bats left-handed or right-handed, which with predictable effect, making it look like they're all wearing odd trousers. Kings of comedy, everyone. The kings of comedy. Boona says, how will Dhoni get on? Ross, Dhoni.
Have you seen his hair? His hair looks like Snake out of The Simpsons. It's unbelievable. And I think if you've got that power and you've been hitting the gym, like he was pretty good last year. If we're perfectly honest, like for someone who played about 10 balls in innings last season, actually was pretty good and took the team to the title. So I think with such clear role definition for someone in that space, having Dhoni in that space is pretty good. So I reckon he'll be perfectly fine in that team.
Ross, Max, Dhoni.
I actually think Dhoni could be the kind of person who might suffer a bit from the two bouncers thing, because from last year he did really well last year, but I feel like with Dhoni, what he's got in spades in terms of his ability to come in and whack sixes in like in no time, like he did last year, was kind of in part of him knowing exactly where the bowler's going to bowl. He's just like like he'd read what the bowler was going to do, and when he'd done that, the ball disappeared. With that extra bouncer thing, there's that extra element of not knowing, an extra element of uncertainty in terms of what the bowler's going to do, and I wonder if that might take a little bit away from what Dhoni was able to do last year and cause him a few problems. That said, people might just bowl it at his chest and it'll disappear. Just help it on its way. But I could see Dhoni's eyes will go and the bounce will be harder to play.
Adam says, go,
I hadn't thought of the comedy drops we're going to get to see. This is not just a bowler batter scenario. The drops that we're going to see in the IPL, there's going to be many more opportunities, and they're difficult catches, right? In the deep, you don't normally put a good fielder in fine leg. Like this is going to be, yeah, interesting, very, very interesting.
Adam says, who is going to follow in Elise Perry's footsteps and become the first male player to break a window on the Tartar Punch? Who's got the best raw six-hitting power, Max?
Oh, Rinku Singh's going to do it.
Rinku, that's a good shout. Ross?
I was going to say Dre Russ, but he will hit it beyond the car. I think. I think there's too much power there. I think you're looking for more. I think Jaiswal has it in the bag.
Yeah, you want that kind of punch, the line drive six that doesn't get very high.
The ones that he was smashing off of England, they're the ones that will go straight to the Tartar Punch.
Kushank says, and this is a technical one for you, Max, or not a technical one, but a difficult one to answer. Do you have any information on how Bobat has worked at his previous jobs? How will he do at RCB with Andy Flower?
I think Mo Bobat, my understanding is that he's very well respected in terms of what they're trying to do with a cricket team, right? Like development wise, thinking about what makes a good team, what they put together, fairly data driven. So I think like between them as a leadership group, with Mo Bobat in there, it should stand RCB in good stead. I think like it shows that they're thinking in the right way as a franchise, trying to get people in to think about what actually makes a team good, how to win games of cricket rather than picking someone who was really good at cricket in 1998 and going pure vibes. So I like that, and I think that's a positive thing, and I think Mo Bobat will definitely bring something to RCB. Like he's had a long time doing sort of in the performance role for England, and England's white ball side has evolved over the course of the 2010s. They've won both World Cups. Like there's a track record there of delivering. So I would say, from seeing how England have gone and the way England have approached things, that it should be good. Yeah,
can't polish a turd, mate.
Ross, did we get anything in the chat that you wanted to pick up on?
People aren't really loving my dismissiveness of RCB, but we have one from Swami. Who, in your opinion, is a clown team of IPL? And why is it RCB?
The clown team of the IPL. It's the Comedy Kings. It's the Kings of Comedy. Comedy Kings 11, Punjab, and they always will be until they do something good. Like even when they
do something good.
Yeah. I mean, even if they do something good, it'll probably be funny, won't it? Like you said on the last show, they're the Pakistan of the IPL. Right. Look, that's nearly an hour. I think that's probably enough from us. Any final words, Max?
Well, just stick with us throughout the IPL. Obviously, we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be another bumper year, and I think we're looking to do the same sort of thing as last year, aren't we? In terms of the shows.
Yes.
So Sunday, Wednesday, Friday is the plan. We'll do our best to stick to it with live shows after the games on those days, covering everything that's preceded. Obviously, we do other stuff, so every now and then we might struggle, particularly when it gets to the tail end of the IPL and the 8-a-side cricket starts in midweek. But that aside, we'll be there. So do join us. It's going to be great.
Yes, I confirm. Dan Weston will be on quite a lot over the series as well. Like I know people like Dan. Ross, last two questions, and you can answer one. I'll answer the other. You can answer this one. Who's gonna be the Virat Gambhir duel? Who's going to fight this year in the IPL?
Do you remember when Lee Bowyer and Kieran Dyer had a fight on the pitch for Newcastle?
Who are they playing for? The LSG call up.
I think that's it. That could well be Hardik Pandya and Rohit Sharma. There could be some
Oh,
Ooh, beef.
beef. Who would win in a fight, Hardik or Rohit?
Rohit, mate.
What are
Rohit's
the rules?
the absolute.
I think Rohit would batter him. Yeah, I think people look at Hardik and they think, yeah, he would take Rohit, but I reckon Rohit would just. I don't even think it'd be close.
Also, like if you're in a gang and you're called hard, like it means the opposite, doesn't it? Right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it
skinny
does.
Pete's always fat Pete. Actually, on this occasion, you can't be called Hardik. You're going to be soft dick in that fight.
Cool.
Yep.
And finally, what game are we looking forward to the most? This is a good one to finish off. Obviously, the first game is RCB v CSK on Friday. We could have done a preview of that, but
KKR versus Punjab Kings. Both games are going to be wild. Lottery team there.
Max, who are you hoping or excited to see?
Yeah, I was sort of similar lines, really. Anything involving KKR, I think, could be box office. I think maybe KKR Mumbai could be a good laugh, especially at Mumbai. You know, runs galore.
I'm kind of looking forward to Mumbai going to the Chinnaswamy. I think, that both of those teams they've got some good batting. And I think that could be like a 6-hitting contest for the ages. 130 plays 120. Good way to end the show, boys. We will be back on Friday after that game, Chennai Super Kings v RCB. It's a classic to kick off the IPL, and we're looking forward to it. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.